Good evening, everyone. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, I like to invite Dr. Vijay. You're audible.
Okay, so shall I start?
Yeah, sure. You start.
Okay, so first of all, I thank agricultureinformation.com for inviting me for such a uh, nice webinar on a national scale. Uh, Advanced technique of fertilizer application. When I say advanced technique of fertilizer application, first we have to understand what do you mean by fertilizer. So for the growth of the plant, there are 17 elements which are essential. And these are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. They have to come from the atmosphere or from the water. The rest, the 14 has to come from either from the soil or supplied through the fertilizer. So that's why these 14 elements are important from fertilizer point of view, that they have to be, if the soil is deficient in certain nutrient, then it has to supply by the fertilizer. So as I said that CHO coming from the air and water, and the rest primary and secondary and micronutrient, they are coming from the fertilizer source or through the soil. There are certain elements which are additional mineral element which are beneficial element. So it is not required by all the crops, but for a specific crop these are needed and they give a good response. But now my concern is the main topic of talk would be low nutrient use efficiency of fertilizer. That's why my concern is that we should go for a new technique of fertilizer application. Fertilizer application is not a very new technique. It is very old technique. Uh, since the inception of the agriculture as such, farmer they are adding one way of or other the fertilizer or manures. But after intensive cultivation and for a long time research, even we have a very low nutrient use efficiency. So see that the micronutrient efficiency is only 2%. So what does that mean? If you are adding 100 kilo of any fertilizer, only 2 kilo is available to the plant. Rest where it goes, fixes into the soil. Similarly, for the nitrogen, the fertilizer use efficiency, this I'm talking about on an average scale. So the nitrogen use efficiency is up to 50% only. So where the rest goes either go for the use of immobilization or volatilization or denitrification or leaching. It goes into the air, it goes into the soil, and it gets nitrate into nitrate and nitrite form. Similarly, phosphorus that get fixed into the soil, and potassium also there is a fixation. And for the sulfur immobilization, leaching with the water. So we have to improve these nutrient use efficiency because fertilizer is a very, very costly input. So what should be done? Before this, I tell you that there should be a balanced use of the fertilizer. Balanced use means timely application, then the right amount of the fertilizer application, and the right method of fertilizer application. So largely we will be talking about the method of fertilizer application, but as such, the balanced use of fertilizer integrate all these things: timely application, the right amount of the application, and the time of application, and also the method of application. Suppose I give you example of time of application. Time of the plant growth as well as the time of application in the daytime. Suppose you are adding the nitrogen, urea in the daytime when there is a scorching heat, then what will happen? All the urea will go into the atmosphere by volatilization losses. So when should we added it to the soil, the urea? It should be added in either in the evening time or in the morning time, when there is a less heat and the soil are having a good sufficient moisture, so the efficiency will improve. So these things have to be kept into the mind while using the method of application of fertilizer. So now, because I am not talking the traditional way of application, I'm concerned with the new and advanced technique of fertilizer application. So I will give you a few examples of that. This new neem coat, as I said before, there were lot of nitrogen urea has been degraded or not being used due to denitrification, or it may go leach down. So there was a proposal to make the slow release of fertilizer, particularly in the rice crop and the long duration crop. So this neem coated urea has come to the existence. It gives a very good result. Why? Because um, we are having this as a slow release fertilizer. So it releases or it solubilizes only fertilizer, only that amount of the fertilizer which get easily available to the plant, and the rest remain in the soil so that it may supplement later on. Pellet fertilizer is the type of the slow release nitrogen fertilizer uh, that is also being used by the fertilizer companies now. They are making the pellet fertilizers. The big size of the size is big. That's why we are using this pellet fertilizer. Nano fertilizer. Nano fertilizer refer to the product in the nanometer design. That means very, very less size of the fertilizer, and the micron size is there. So use of urease inhibitor, nitrification inhibitor to degrade the nitrogen losses. Foliar application of fertilizers. Only those fertilizers that do not scorch leaves are being sprayed. See, if, as I said, that we have to improve the fertilizer use efficiency. So if we are applying the fertilizer as such on the crop or on the foliage, certainly we will have a greater fertilizer use efficiency. Usually micronutrients which are required in the low rate, they are being foliarly sprayed. Urea is also sprayed into the on the. So this is a better method for improving the fertilizer use efficiency. So we have to take care of the fertilizer which are being easily applicable, and the concentration also which required by the plant. So there is our formulation like 1919 given by many companies. That soluble fertilizer can be used very easily, for the foliar application of fertilizer in many ways. Okay, so but the limitation with this foliar application of fertilizer is that we cannot spray the fertilizer, all the fertilizer. So only low concentration of the fertilizer needed uh, is to be used for foliar application. And there is a method, fertigation. Fertigation is the method for applying the fertilizer, soil amendment, and also the water soluble product uh, through drip or sprinkler irrigation method. Fertilizer is applied at the constant rate from the irrigation from start to finish. And then calculated amount, the exact amount, because we are adding the fertilizer through drip, that means by drop and drop. So by drop and drop, all the water will be applied, and then similarly the fertilizer will go into the root. So we will be improving a great water nutrient use efficiency while fertigation. First, I will, okay, before the fertigation, I was talking about the foliar spray of the nutrient. So now in India, the technology of drone fertilizer application through drone has also been approved. Before it was having the reservation, so some concentrated efforts are being taken up by the application of fertilizer, and for this we have to use the nano fertilizer or the concentrated fertilizers, which have the micron size or smaller size, and in the small quantity of the water we can apply the large amount of the fertilizer. So but this has to come into the research first, and then may come with the certain recommendation for drone application of fertilizer, various fertilizers. Now coming again back to the fertigation, it has a great advantage: higher water and nutrient use efficiency, eliminate the water manual operation, higher resource conservation. So many benefits are there. But the problem with this technique is that it is a costlier fertilizer application. Initial cost of installing the drip irrigation or sprinkler irrigation system is quite high. So, and then a specific technique or this specific know-how is required for operation of these instrument or these implements. So if you see the layout, you see that we are adding water and the nutrient directly into the root of the plants. So that makes the fertilizer use efficiency very high. I will give you the example how much fertilizer use efficiency is being increased with this. See, the nitrogen use efficiency, as I said, that it goes up to 50%. But when we are having the fertigation, then it goes up to 95%. Whereas phosphorus use efficiency goes up to the 45%, from 20 to 45%. And then with this potassium, it goes up to 80%. So for this, we require the fertilizer tank and venturi pump and fertilizer injection pump. Uh, it ranges with the different prices. So we require these implements for fertigation. Now there is a one on after this fertigation, there is a technique which is being called as the hydroponic. That means the method of growing the plant using mineral nutrient solution in water without soil, soilless culture. So, have you seen the gardens of Babylon? They are using this technique for the ancient time. So, vertical gardening or vertical farming, and that is being grown with the hydroponic. Means no nutrient is coming from the soil. It is all, and this technique is very useful in the area where the soil are barren and you cannot cultivate, or the soil are having the problem, degraded soil, and the soil like desert. So there, this technique, growing the plant with the hydroponic, will be very useful because only 10% water is being used. So in saline, alkaline soil or undulating land, barren soil, this technique is very useful. So, and moreover, we will be improving a lot fertilizer use efficiency. So as I describe all this, see that how the nutrient solution goes to the plant after circulation. So growing the plant, then air pump and nutrient pump. So this is the design, how it goes, means from this water pool, it goes to the plant by pump. And there is another technique, aerophonic. Hydroponic means we are supplying the nutrient through the water. So what the nutrients are dissolved in the water and then they are being supplied to the plant. Aerophonic, here we are spraying the nutrient onto the roots, which are these plants are in a closed compartment, and then we are supplying these nutrient not even in the form of mist. So this is a very new technique also. Mist is being formed and then sprayed onto the, so it gives a very good result if you are avoiding the very high biomass production. Like if you want to grow a mini tuber for the seed production, that technique is very useful. So this is the new method of application of nutrient. Then there is you might have seen lot of foliage in front of uh, hotels and buildings and new buildings, hanging and vertical gardening. So there also these techniques, hydroponic techniques, they work out. So for when you are going for application of the nutrient through the water, you have to take care that which salt is to be taken and for a particular nutrient, and then you have to decide the exact concentration. So I have listed few, like for the nitrogen you use the urea, ammonium sulfate, calcium ammonium nitrate. For the phosphorus, phosphoric acid. For the potassium, muriate of potash, sulfate of potash. and NPK. I have given example, but there can be other formulation also. 12, 32, 16. Calcium nitrate, magnesium sulfate for magnesium, calcium sulfate for sulfur, and then EDTA iron for the iron. Ferrous sulfate can be used for the iron also. For the zinc, zinc sulfate. For manganese, manganese sulfate. Copper, copper sulfate. For the boron, boric acid. And for the molybdenum, ammonium molybdate is being used for the mainly, and or so there are many different salt we have to take into the consideration while using the or while supplying the nutrient through to the soil. So you see that nitrogen we are adding in the form of nitrate or ammonical form. So nitrogen as such is not absorbed by the plant. It has to be converted into some source of ions. So nitrogen has to come as a nitrate and ammonical form. That's why we use the ammonium salt or nitrate salt. And phosphorus is being absorbed as a H2PO4 or PO4 form. So anything which or elemental form of the phosphorus can also be used. For the potassium, it is being absorbed as a potassium ion, or the calcium ion, and magnesium ion. For the sulfur, it is sulfate form which is being absorbed by the plant. And in case of iron, it is ferrous or ferric form of ion which is being used for the plant. Copper, manganese, these are in the ionic form. Zinc, then molybdenum in the form of molybdate, and boron in the form of boric acid. Chloride as the form of chloride, and sodium as a form of sodium. So these are the, and then we have the common range of fertilizer which are being should be into the nutrient solution.
Sir, sorry to interrupt. Slightly adjust the camera, sir.
Okay.
We are not able to see your face fully. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Is it okay?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So 100, like I said, that these are the common range in the ppm which should be used for a nutrient solution. This really is a expertise, because we have to calculate these according to the requirement of the crop. This I am giving the common range, but again you have to decide how much to be added, 100 or 150 or 200 or 225 or 250. So it will depend upon the requirement of the crop. Also, many things other I will be telling that other factor also affect that salinity of the water which we are using. So how to correct that and make the balance of the nutrient solution. So I will be talking about that in my next slide. So these I need not to read all these. These are the common range which are available in the literature, but deciding factor will be which crop you are using the nutrient solution for growing the crop. So you have to be uh, technically expert to use these nutrient solution. This is again suggested nutrient solution concentration for various crops. Like we deal with the horticulture crops, so I have given a few examples for the horticulture crop, which we use for a nutrient solution for various crops. Now, as I said that when we are having the nutrient solution made for the plant, we have to make sure that it is fit for the use of nutrient. So chemical characterization, it should have a proper pH. That pH is also very important when we are using the nutrient solution. And EC. EC means electrical conductivity, total soluble salt. How much salts are there into the soil or into the in the nutrient solution. So if there are many salt, then it will affect its nutrient availability. So we have to correct that salinity level. How we do, I will be talking later. Alkalinity means if the water is having high pH and the more residual sodium carbonate, that means sodium salt concentration are high, then we have to neutralize it also. So for the having the nutritional value of both macro and micronutrient and non-nutritional also. So the nutritional value of both will depend upon this aspect. There are certain non-nutritional element also which are available into the plant. So they may cause the possible toxicity. So what we have to do is first we should analyze the water which we are going to use for the nutrient solution before we use for these fertigation or hydroponic or aeroponic or spray, foliar spray or drone application, wherever we have to make sure that our water should be good for the application. So these toxic, they may cause the toxicity if we have the high sodium chloride or sodium concentration or chloride concentration or fluoride concentration or aluminum concentration. So you understand what do you mean by acidity? We have to neutralize it. If the water is having the neutral value about 7, so there is no problem. But if we goes on increasing the pH, then the water become alkaline. So we have to bring it down. And if the water having the pH less than 7, it become acidic. So we have to bring that into the almost neutral level. So then we have to accordingly, the availability of the nutrient is also affected. So we have to decide if it is a acidic, then if the irrigation water is alkaline, we have to bring it down and use the acid. Okay, and in case of alkalinity of water, we should go for ammonical application of the nitrogen, not the nitrate. So the main goal is to achieve the stable medium pH over the time. You see, this I have shown where the maximum availability of the nutrients are there. So where it is in between 5 pH to 6 pH, maximum availability is there. of all the nutrients. So this is the common range where all the nutrients are available. So it mainly it comes up to in this range. The maximum availability is there 5.5 to this 5.5 to 6.5. So acidify the water, acidity is there, that I have told, and then salinity level. If the salinity is very high, then we have to either dilute it with the canal or fresh rainwater, so that then use for the for this fertigation or nutrition nutrient solution. Okay, so we have to bring the salinity at the lower level. This type of salt injury occurs when we are not neutralizing the water and directly using the salty water. We can measure the ECPH by EC meter or alkaline meter, and then alkali in terms of milliequivalent, and carbonate and bicarbonate of sodium. So for the correction of the high alkalinity, we use the sulfuric, phosphoric, and nitric acid. And so we have to make a certain program for neutralizing the alkalinity with the acid, and then or diluting the saline water with the collected rainwater or low salinity water, or may use the last slide. Use the reverse osmosis water treatment, particularly seedling and salt sensitive crops. You see how Israel has made success story, having a lot of saline water. The water is not fresh in their country. So they have used this technique, use of reverse osmosis of water treatment for growing the plant, and they are very successful in growing in a poly houses or in a closed structure or net houses, and the water is so poor. So only technique they have used is reverse osmosis technique. You understand? We have the impermeable layer where the water enter into that. So it separates the water, pure water, with the soil. So we concentrate the water and accumulate, and do not want to bring into the plant nutrition part. So this all I have to. So in nutshell, I will repeat again what are the method I have used. So to improve the fertilizer use efficiency, I told the neem coated urea, pellet fertilizer, nano fertilizer. For the nano fertilizer, a lot of research has to be done. Still, we have not concluded. But the other thing like neem coated urea or pellet fertilizer, there are many recommendations, and we can use for improving the fertilizer use efficiency. Use of urease inhibitor or nitrification inhibitor to decrease the nitrogen losses. Foliar application, as I said, we can spray the nutrient through the fertilizers for the fertilizer on directly onto the plant parts. Then fertigation, sorry, this mistake in the, this is fertigation. Then I told about the drone technology, spraying of nutrient on a larger scale. It may require less time and less energy to spray more area. but still this is under the research domain, and still many recommendation has to come. Then I told you about hydroponic techniques. That means what when we are having the vertical gardening or vertical techniques, we use this hydroponic. And then there is a aerophonic techniques where we spray the nutrient solution onto the roots, and then plant grows in that. The nutrient are in the solution, but no touch with the roots. So only the nutrient is being sprayed on there. So this is aerophonic technique. Then for the vertical gardening, which is nowadays fashion, and lot of area is being covered where we don't have the land and the land is barren, or on a buildings or on the road top, we are having this. So for that we have to use the hydroponic techniques. And I told you about the various salt which are to be used for making the nutrient solution. And as I said, that there is a certain range of the common range which has to be adopted for the different nutrients. But again, it varies with the crop requirement. So we have to decide, we have to be having the knowledge about the common, what are the requirement of the crop. So in this lecture, I cannot give you all the package and practices. So we have to make expertise on this subject, that how much is to be used, so that we can make a complete package and practices. For suppose we are going for grape crop, or for a orange crop, or for the vegetable crops, lettuce. So we have to decide these fertilizer concentration accordingly. Similarly, for certain crop, I have given the concentration. Then again, to make the nutrient solution correct, we have to correct the pH, EC, and alkalinity. Then there is a toxicity of the sodium chloride, sodium ion chloride, and chloride and aluminum. So we have to take care of these so that the plant may not become toxic and then show a retarded growth. So we have to neutralize the acidity, we have to neutralize the salinity, and then we have to go for neutralizing the alkalinity, correcting high alkalinity. Thank you very much. I think I have to talk this much only.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for the presentation. I'll take up the questions from the participants. In the meantime, can you please stop sharing the screen, sir, so that we can have a full view of yours?
Stop sharing, yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. The first question is...
let me make it bigger. Okay.
This is fine, sir. This is fine. Slightly adjust your camera. That is fine.
Okay. Is it okay?
No. Slightly. Yeah. This is fine. This is fine. Okay. Okay. The first question is, what are the most common mistakes farmers make while applying fertilizers?
Yes, very relevant and good question. Like as I said, if he is applying the nitrogen, time of application, urea, he applies in the daytime when there is a lot of sunshine and heat is there. It goes into the atmosphere, volatilization losses. Then texture of the soil. Suppose you are having sandy texture in the soil. So then you have to apply the fertilizer after the irrigation. And if there is a heavy soil, then you have to apply the fertilizer first and then go for irrigation. So these are the certain thumb rules which farmer do not go. They make the mistake. So suppose you are applying the urea in Rajasthan or in the soil which are much sandy, and you apply the urea and then give the uh, irrigation. What will happen? All will go as a leaching losses. So thing like that, the farmer makes the mistake, and particularly like broadcasting. I have not shown those slides which are part of my talk when I talk about the fertilizer use efficiency. Uh, Go for a broadcasting everywhere. No, still after 50 years of intensive research and advocacy, farmers, they are not placing the urea, this phosphatic fertilizer DAP uh, near the root. Why? Why it should be near the root? Because phosphorus does not dissolve much or does not move. So its mobility is very poor. And if we are applying the micronutrient in the soil, it all goes waste. Most of that goes fixed. So we have to go for foliar application. So these are the certain things which farmer makes a mistake still, and also imbalance use. Most important is what makes the farmer use. So before applying the fertilizer, you should go for the soil testing, and also the exact recommendation of the crop. Like in my area, farmer, they apply 8 or 10 bags of urea in sugarcane or potato crop, which is not required. Only 2 bags of urea are sufficient. So these things really need to be corrected at the farmer's level.
Okay, we'll take it the next question. How popular is fertigation in India? Most farmers seem to do fertilizers and irrigation separately.
Yes, very nice again. But nevertheless, you see the example of Maharashtra. How much fertigation is being used there? Much of the areas are under the fertigation. So necessity is the mother of invention. We don't realize, particularly in the northern state, like in Punjab, Haryana, we have plenty of groundwater, which has been depleted. So we are going for flood irrigation, which is I would say, I would rate as a crime, because you are using so much water resources. Why should we use flood irrigation? We should improve our fertilizer and water use efficiency, and then go for the uh, drip irrigation system. So I agree that because of the first thing, they have to be, farmer has to be pursued that water and fertilizer are very important input. Initial cost is though high, very high in installing, and maintenance cost is also high. So once farmer, they will be start using, uh, naturally technique will improve. Plus government trying to go for subsidy of the drip irrigation. So I think this is really required, is the need of the day.
Okay. The next question is, do you think usage of drones in agriculture is a hype, or is that it has some real potential to transform agriculture?
Do you what did you say, that drone will improve the
Drone in agriculture is a hype.
is in is hike?
Hype.
hype. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. See. Okay. I tell you the example. Whenever the anything comes, new thing come, it looks like that. But certainly, when it will be a perfect technique, and after a lot of R&D, I would not say just simply go for that technique without going for R&D and checking its implication. But I look forward that it will help in improving the fertilizer use efficiency. Not only fertilizer, other insecticide and pesticide use efficiencies also. Am I clear or?
Yes, sir. You're clear.
Yeah.
I'll take up the next question, sir. As a consultant faculty at Maharana Pratap Horticultural University in Karnal, what exactly do you do?
Oh, yes. Very interesting. Really means I'm doing teaching. I am involved in research project. I am doing this extension activity. Apart from that, they involve me in some administration work also. So I'm multifarious work I'm doing. Uh, Wherever there is a need, my advice are taken because of my experience, large experience. So I feel really good while working after as a consultant in Maharana Pratap Horticulture University. Plus, horticulture, marvelous crops. There is a great need of horticulture in coming time because we are self-sufficient in growing the grain crops now. Time is for the horticulture.
Okay, sir. I'll take up the next question. What are some research topics in this area that seem most promising to you?
Research area in fertilizer use efficiency.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I said, research area. This foliar application techniques should be standardized more. We have to work out more on all the crop that how much concentration will help to make more growth and sustainable, and also slow release fertilizers and soil test based recommendation has to come. Still we are talking lot of soil testing, but it has still come up. And there is one also diagnostic techniques which require a large attention, like uh, foliar analysis of foliar, like foliar canopy and on a large scale, and then we can predict that whether our soil are deficient and we should go for a further improving in the. So this technique is called DSIR, that means diagnostic system for integrated nutrient management. So we analyze the plant parts on a large area and then come up with a recommendation. And then, of course, these nano fertilizer and urea inhibitors and slow releasing fertilizers, and particularly for the resource conservation under and also for the uh, organic integrated nutrient management for organic production of our products. So these are area I think we should concentrate.
Okay. I'll move on to the next question, sir. Most farmers select drip irrigation and fertigation based on local dealer advice. Do you think this is a good idea?
Yes, I think we need lot more company to come up. Now I can name. I would not name those company because then it will be advocacy of them. But there are only few companies in this area. They have the good equipment and facility. So uh, more and more industry should be come up to take up this technique and make it. There should not be a monopoly of that. So government should take concentration of these things so that it become cheaper. And local market, I would not believe, because they have certain low product, and unless they are being registered or or having good R&D of the product, because it's a very specific technique. I'm not saying that we should not go for a desi or indigenous things, but it requires a lot of attention. Why? Because farmer is always having afraid of spending a lot of money on these equipment, particularly the dripper. They get choked, and the pipe they get damaged easily. So we should have the standard of these things.
Okay, we have one last question, sir.
Mm.
Do you think in India, agriculture hydroponics can ever become mainstream method of cultivation?
No, 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 no. As I said, there is an advantage for those soil which are barren or which have the high salt concentration, or undulating soil, desert soil, peri-urban area, and particularly in the metropoles. Like if I want to grow a plant, where should I grow? I don't have soil, I don't have the kitchen gardening space. So there, these are the site specific or site location techniques, but useful for those area. But as a mainstream, no. We have plenty of very good land also, and also we should not replace one with other. We should go for wherever there are requirement.
Okay, thank you, sir. We have now completed the round of questions. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, we would like to thank Dr. Vijay Kumar Arora for the talk and for answering the questions in depth. I'd like to also thank all the participants in this meeting. This meeting will now be closed.
May I know how many participants were there?
Sir, there are many participants, sir. They log in from our website, so you cannot see it here. Okay.
Oh, that's why I was afraid
there's a
that.
program, I told you, it has been live streamed, and they are listening to your talk live from our website.
Oh, I was a bit afraid that only one or two participants.
No, I had informed you earlier also. You cannot see the participants in the Zoom link because they are logging in from our website.
So really, that makes you encouraged when you see many participants, and if you get discouraged when
we have participants.
So really, thank you very much for a nice session, and I'm delighted to be with you, and really keep on inviting me for a good lecture.
Sure, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.